Wow, we are back. Well, this is episode 7, I think it is. Episode 7 of season 3. It's your boy G alongside Alec, another great episode of Section 300. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, follow us online wherever you're tuning in. Like, rate, review, subscribe, all of that on our podcast streaming services and on all of our on YouTube as well. Thank you guys so much for all the love you guys have been showing there. Follow us on TikTok and IG and TikTok at Section.300. Follow us on Twitter at Section 300 Sports. It's your boy G. Just say G online everywhere. Alec, Lakers fan 24 everywhere. Thank you guys again for tuning in. And Alec, we here after the All-Star break. How you feeling about things?
I'm good. I mean, it's been tough, kind of a withdrawal of not having any NBA basketball for 4 days. Like I'm like checking in the morning, like there's no games on today.
It's crazy how quick people get bored.
Oh yeah, and we'll talk about how the media gets
exactly.
bored.
We've talked about how folks react when they get bored. They say anything, and we've seen that across the board everywhere. And then we'll get to that in full as we go on. But as we mentioned, post All-Star break, the All-Star weekend just went down. Was a pretty good weekend for the most part. I think most notably with honoring the NBA 75. Let me zoom in here real quick. With them honoring the NBA top 75, it was a great moment seeing a lot of the greats there on the court. Was an amazing thing to see, and just thoroughly enjoyed that. 3-point contest was great. My prediction about Karl-Anthony Towns came true, and I'm glad to see him get that award there. The All-Star Skills Challenge was great. This was all around. It was a pretty fun weekend outside the dunk contest, which we'll get to. But just quick takeaways before we get more in depth. What do you think of All-Star weekend?
Yeah, I think it was kind of a mixed bag because I thought, like many years, the dunk contest was one of the worst we've seen. Like, I don't know if it's recency bias, but that might have been the worst dunk contest I've seen. It was the most anticlimactic for sure.
I luckily did not see it. I luckily was at work during that day. So from the highlights, I was like, wait, they made some dunks. It looked decent, but
it took them like 10 tries to get
the that watched it live was like, yo, this was the worst one ever. So, hey, oh well.
Yeah, that was tough. I mean, we might not get the glory days of Levine and Aaron Gordon again if the superstars don't want to do it.
It's crazy how history changes as you move forward. Because there were a lot of folks, even during that time, that were skeptical of how good that weekend was going to be. But we were surprised by how great of a performance that Levine and Gordon put on. And then even after that, it took a couple of years for everybody was like, no, that was the greatest one we ever seen. So, it's crazy how it works. I guess we'll stay there with that being a hot topic. What do you think could fix the dunk contest going forward?
Yeah, I've seen and heard a lot of ideas thrown around. Some of them crazy, like throwing in a defender for the dunks, like having someone try to jump up and block the dunks. Like that one, I feel like you'd be prone to getting some guys injured, so probably not going to work.
You'd probably get. I get what you're saying with that, but I do like that element.
I do too.
A way to highlight some of the better defenders in the league or some of the better big men, however you want to put it. The idea I put out, maybe not for the dunk contest, but for the skills challenge, rather than them running through the little whatevers and getting to the end and doing a little layup, having them run through the things and have to get by a defender. I think that'd be a nice element there. Or have to score on a guy, dunk on somebody, maybe. That's a nice little element there. So for the dunk contest itself, no, but I think we're getting close with the ideas. It's just putting it in the right place. So we'll see how they adjust. But what else? Other ideas do you have about that?
Yeah, and then there was others have pointed to like that there's plenty of professional dunkers out there because people have talked about how like there's nothing more you can do, like we've seen it all, but there are like still like creative dunks and dunkers out there that are trying new things and coming up with new ideas. So I feel like that's not the greatest argument because I think there's guys with bounce in the league as well that could do something that we haven't necessarily seen before. So but also, I don't know if I love bringing in like non-NBA players. At least like make them like G League or something like that.
Right. And I don't think it's necessarily about being the most creative dunker ever. So in regards to getting these guys that just dunk professionally, I don't believe that. I think it's that we see guys in game. We see John Morant every game throw crazy dunks down. We see Miles Bridges every game throw down crazy dunks. And then we go to the dunk contest and we get, respectfully, Juan Toscano Anderson and Obi Toppin and things. So there's just be better ways to get guys that we see high flying on a nightly basis actually want to participate in the dunk contest. And I think even if they're not the most creative, just their presence alone will be enough to keep things entertaining. So yeah, just finding a way to get the stars in it. I think Ja made a note like it's not worth it. It's not enough for him to be involved. So if you get to incentivize it more for them to be involved, then do so. But yeah, I think just doing everything it takes to get the stars back involved is what needs to be done there. So yeah, we'll see how they adjust with that going forward. But yeah, anything else dunk contest wise?
I mean, just like you said, that a lot of these guys are really good in-game dunkers, but that doesn't necessarily translate to dunk contests as well. Too, like Anthony Edwards, when he was asked, was saying that like he likes dunking on people. Like that's part of the reason that he didn't want to participate, because he's called himself an in-game dunker. Right. But yeah, I don't know. It's tricky because like the guys that are superstars probably aren't like focusing on practicing trick dunks and stuff. They're focusing on getting better and winning games like throughout the season. So I get why they kind of get like less householdy names to do it. But
and the last thing is just that, to your point early on, just about us being bored right now. We're bored right now. They're all on vacation. They take a few days to just relax. So they don't want to go out there and do something crazy that may hurt themselves before they get a break in the middle of the season. So from their side, I get it. But at the same time, as fans, we want more than what we got this last weekend. So
I wouldn't be mad at like what Kenny and Reggie Miller and Dwayne Wade were arguing that the 3-point contest should be the last contest like of the All-Star Saturday, and I wouldn't mind that because the 3-point contest was actually fun to watch.
It's harder to mess up, so if you want to make sure it ends on a high, I get that.
Yeah.
But when the All-Star, when the dunk contest does work, it steals the show from everything else.
True.
So I think you keep that at the end, and you just continue to hope for the best and find ways to get guys that'll put on the show more to do so. But no, I still would keep the dunk contest last, but I understand why they would want it flipped going forward. So, hey, we'll see how they adjust to it. Anything else you want to know of beyond the All-Star game, which we'll get to in a second? Any other things before that?
The skills challenge, I felt like it was just like a little bit too long. I didn't mind like doing it with the teams, and like that was cool, even though the Antetokounmpo brothers can't shoot. That was fun to watch. The Cavs team and the Antetokounmpos and the rookies. And actually, I thought the Friday night game, the Rising Stars, was one of the better games.
That's where I was going to go next.
Yeah, that was fun. Like even both my parents actually were engaged. I was surprised because like those are guys that aren't really known to like the casual NBA fan. A lot of them are on teams that aren't very good because they're rookies and that kind of thing. So it actually like kept them engaged and they were into it too. I think the target score format has worked for an All-Star game as well, which we'll talk about as far as getting a more competitive brand of basketball, at least for part of the game. So I thought that was better than most of the Saturday night, to be honest.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed that format. I was very hesitant early on before when they first announced it. I felt like it was too many games. It was going to take too long, and all these guys are involved. We wanted to see everybody, but it actually was a very good product, and I definitely enjoyed that. A note that I had with that is at least somewhat of the idea I had for the Pro Bowl. Remember I was saying about the Pro Bowl 7-on-7 tournament and then all that kind of stuff, having different teams play and come together. So obviously for the NBA, that was the Rising Stars. Those are younger guys, so not the same incentives or whatever. But that kind of format, it worked in basketball, and I think it worked in football as well. If the NFL wants to steal some ideas from this All-Star weekend, the NBA just put on there. So yeah, just the idea and a thought. So we'll see how both leagues continue to move forward. But definitely agree with you. Back to the NBA, that was a good product on Friday, and enjoyed most things on Saturday night as well. So yeah, good stuff there. And then for the main event, of course, the All-Star game itself, definitely was a great moment. All the stars showed up as we hoped they would. Steph Curry stepped out above the rest. And got the Kobe Bryant MVP, All-Star MVP award, scoring 50 points in the game, 16 threes he made, and just
he was stroking it out there. I said it early.
I'm with you. They tried to hate. They don't don't get the jokes or whatever. But I heard you, and I definitely what he saw. It definitely was a great thing. What you take away from him standing out from the rest of the stars on Sunday night?
Yeah, I think it made him susceptible to some of those hater jabs too. They're like Steph performs when like it's like there's nothing on the line kind of thing, because he did all that like in the third quarter, second quarter, and then in the fourth he was bricking, and then LeBron had to bring it home. No, but Steph is one of those guys like offensively that can just go nuclear, like we've probably never seen from anyone else. Just when he gets hot, it's like a 2K microwave badge or whatever. Like it's just he's not hitting the rim at all. He's not even looking at the shot going in anymore. He's just an asshole at that point, just throwing it up and turning it around.
He shot one from like half court. He turned around, stared at Trey and Giannis. I already know what it is. I'm just gonna run back on defense now.
But it's so fun to watch. I mean, even people that aren't like huge basketball fans like can still like appreciate that greatness. And he broke the record for 3-pointers made in the All-Star game.
Right.
Almost. I was shocked that AD has the record for points in the All-Star game with 52, and Steph ended with 50, but he was close to breaking 2 records that night.
Right.
But yeah, it was very, very, very fun to watch, and it wasn't a surprise for me either because he was at home in a sense, being in Ohio. So
right. Is he the real king of Cleveland? Is that what we're running with?
They both are for sure. But he showed out in front of his hometown, so that was fun.
Absolutely. So very, very fun to see. They also, as you mentioned, honored the NBA 75 during the game as well. But at halftime, it was great to see everybody together. MJ was still his competitive self, poking at folks and all. Definitely was a fun moment. And it was just great to see all of them together. You don't get many moments like that. So to get all these greats on the same court again, playing or not, just being present, seeing them all standing there and being acknowledged was amazing. So I was glad I got to see that. So definitely fun there. Also, I mean, we talked about the Cleveland, NBA 75, all this stuff. Haven't mentioned LeBron yet. Well, I mean, we mentioned him once with the buzzer beater.
Plenty to talk about with LeBron.
Talked enough about how he tried to steal the show All-Star Weekend. He made a lot of headlines with a lot of things he was saying. We talked beforehand about the idea of him wanting to play with Bronny at the end of his career. He doubled down on that and said he's for sure going to do it, whatever it takes to make that happen at the end of his career. He also praised the Cleveland young core a bit, I believe, and had a lot of praise for them. And it seemed like he was dropping a lot of hints that LA.
He praised Sam Presti. Don't forget about that too. Called him the MVP and all that.
A lot of love to everybody but LA. It seems like it's very eerie to when he left Miami for Cleveland a while ago. So hey, if he's when he left Cleveland for LA, actually he had the same kind of movement here. So dropping hints and poking at folks or whatever. So here we may go again, and you think LeBron's out the door, and just what you think about how LeBron moved during All-Star Weekend.
As soon as those like sound bites and articles started coming out, I was like, this is gonna be a long 4 days in the media.
Yep.
Before we get actual basketball games.
He knows what he's doing.
Again. What'd you say?
I say he knows exactly what he's doing. So
we've
all fallen victim to it yet again. We're all witnesses to his master plan.
Yeah, no, we are all witnesses. For sure, LeBron.
Let's see what happens next.
Unfortunately, we are all witnesses. I mean, you and I have talked about we hate what comes with like LeBron coming to your team, like the spectacle around it. The Los Angeles LeBrons is what we are now. We're not the Lakers. So it comes with the territories. It's not surprising that he's moving like that. You also don't really know what exactly he wants. Like this could be to get some more leverage or to kind of push Pelinka to do more in the offseason.
They said he has the most power of anybody right now. What more leverage do you want?
Well, the thing is that like he doesn't have a player option, so he's for sure signed on for next year.
Right.
So he doesn't have that type of flexibility where he can go anywhere next year. Like he's for sure with the Lakers next year again. So maybe trying to push Pelinka to make some more moves again this offseason.
Again, let me ask this: as billionaire Bron, who doesn't care about the contracts as long as he has to play with Bronny and all of that, as you mentioned, does he take the player option?
He doesn't have a player option.
Oh, he doesn't have a player
He
option.
does not have an option.
Oh,
No, so
I thought he did. Oh, okay.
no.
Then.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so that's like the leverage play, I guess. In the media, you start shouting out other GMs, calling them the MVP.
Right.
Maybe try to put a little pressure on Pelinka or to get Pelinka out. I don't know. I don't know what mastermind Braun is doing.
There's tampering from owners and management to players. Is there tampering for players to management? Because he's calling out.
Technically is, but Adam Silver has lost his control, his death grip on the
He's shown that LeBron has some leeway, so I guess he'll be just fine.
I've seen people. I think Maples was like, I miss David Stern because David Stern was more like crack the whip on everybody. What I say goes. It's definitely more of a players' league now, for better or for worse. I mean, I think we like the players being able to take more control of their careers, but there is a delicate balance at some point.
Right.
And Clutch Mafia definitely pushes the envelope with that balance all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with LeBron. Something that has grown more debate, I think, at least heavily amongst LA sports media, is that they tried to push heavily before the deadline for the Russ trade and trying to move around somebody to make something happen. LeBron, I guess AD, where they were like, let's just make some kind of move, and Pelinka didn't pull the trigger, not wanting to trade the
2027
first round, 2027, 2029, the way later draft pick that potentially were on the table for moves that could have been made. So with that being known now, my question to you is, how much is one ring worth?
How much is one ring worth? It's worth a lot to other franchises, I would say. Like, it's worth a lot to franchises that haven't had one before or didn't have 16 already. I mean, a ring is still a ring. Like, it's still a great accomplishment. We're still going to count that, like, in the total. We're still going to use that in arguments against the Celtics now that we're tied with rings, that kind of thing. But so by no means is it meaningless, but I think it would mean more to franchises that haven't won as much as the Lakers have. I think the ring validates, I guess, the Anthony Davis trade, because if you didn't win after shipping out all those pieces to get him, then it's like a complete failure, I think, because it's championship or bust once you traded all those guys to get AD.
Does the as the others call it, the Mickey ring not count for that then?
No, I think that's too easy, like, for haters to use, because like, whoever would have won it would have been deserving. Like, everyone had an equal opportunity to win that ring. Like, I don't know if we still call it a Mickey Mouse ring if I don't know who else wins it.
Just flip it. If the Heat won, is that Mickey ring? I think being the Lakers, that gives them credit even still.
Yeah. So yeah, I think pretty much anyone else who won that it's not called a Mickey Mouse ring if LeBron is not on the team. It's not the Lakers. So like, same thing with like the shortened season for MLB and the Dodgers, that kind of thing. Like, people are going to discredit it because their team didn't win, but if their team won, like, they would certainly celebrate that championship. Like, if that was the case, like, why even play the season at all? Like, why even play the playoffs that year if we're not going to count the ring? So no, I think even if you consider it a Mickey Mouse ring, it still counts towards one of those banners. So one of those trophies. Yeah.
But just to your point about it validating the trade. So does that, it validates the trade as well, you said?
I think so. I mean, I think regardless, they would have won because they were like 65 and 17, something like that, like on that type of pace for 82 games. They were the number one seed in the West. I think they were the number one seed overall. That because we kind of forget like how dominant those Lakers were in 2020.
Yeah,
they went into the bubble as the one seed. So I think regardless, they were probably going to win that title that year, even if it was not in the bubble and if it was in front of fans and they had to play in a road situation in the playoffs. I think they still would have won that. Like, they had one of the better records on the road. They had one of the better defensive ratings all season. So, yeah, I don't think it discredits that at all.
Okay. So then moving forward with this strive for another ring, are they wrong for not going all in again and holding on to these picks still? or should they be looking to really push for ring 18?
I see arguments for both. Like it being wrong, the only argument I see there is that the championship window is probably still small-ish. It's hard to tell with LeBron how long he's going to play, but because of how he takes care of his body, but he is older, obviously.
Yeah, we discussed last time. He saw injuries and all that happened, so it is what it is.
Exactly. So from that standpoint, I guess you could say it was wrong, but it's hard to say that when LeBron and AD were very vocal in pushing for Russell Westbrook to be traded for. Right. When the Buddy Hield trade was probably set in motion, whether that would have been a good deal or not, we don't know either. But other things were in motion before Russell Westbrook, and they pushed for Russell Westbrook. And now that there's blowback and they're not winning as much as expected, everyone is trying to like shift blame in the scenario between Clutch, between LeBron, between Pelinka. Everyone's shifting blame when they're like all kind of to blame. So I don't know if it would be fair to I guess just point the finger at the Lakers executives for not making that deal, because LeBron had a hand in making this trade that kind of like hurt them flexibility wise just because of how much money Russ makes. And the other pieces they're able to add or not add because of how much money LeBron and AD make. So it's not really fair to then try to blame Pelinka for not mortgaging more of the future that's already very slim to then make a move that doesn't necessarily guarantee us a chip this year. If you get John Wall and I don't know, a John Wall and a pick or whatever it was.
I love John Wall too, and I think he will, when he gets back in the league, will have a nice bounce back, but not this fast. I think he'll still have to ease back into it. So I don't think he'd be a better product at this moment than Russell Westbrook is on the court right now. So it puts us in a tough spot. And now folks are already crossing out the Lakers as being done for the season already. Are you with that as well? Are you ready to say the Lakers season is over with? Or you still think with LeBron there, even with AD now out, which we'll talk about in a second also. Yeah. LeBron with AD dropped, but LeBron there, can we salvage this season and still find a way to make a run?
I guess depends what salvage means, but it's very dependent on health and matchups, I think.
You win a series. I'll start with that.
Like I said, like it's very dependent on health. Health first and foremost. Like if one of LeBron or AD is out, I don't think so. Just because this team has had like no continuity between those two guys being out, and then the chemistry between LeBron and Russ, while it did look good, like that game against the Jazz right before the break, it's been like a struggle kind of just figuring out the fit with LeBron and Russ. I'm hopeful that the chemistry continues to build for this latter third of the season. I think it's very possible. It's typically when Russ like comes on his most as a player. But I think right now they're not good enough to beat the Suns in a series if they were to be the 8th seed. The Warriors, I think it would depend on if Draymond is back or not, because as we saw in that last game against the Warriors, they are beatable by the Lakers. Like if LeBron shoots a little bit better, they win that game. And they had no answer for AD at all inside. So that one's more interesting. The Grizzlies right now are playing much better than we are. So although I said in previous episodes that I'd like our chances in that series, not if they're not healthy. If one of LeBron or AD is out, no. So I think as far as winning a series, their best chance is to get into the like 6 or 5 seed, but that's gonna be tough sledding with. I think they're 4 games under 500 right now. So they got it's tough. I don't think they like miss the playoffs. I think they make the play-in at the very least and probably get into a first round matchup. But will they win a series is hard to say right now. They got to be fully healthy, and it's got to be the right matchup. So yeah.
And even with all the injuries and things that have gone on, the reality is folks are going to add this season to LeBron's legacy regardless. What would that mean for LeBron's legacy? Does that put it? There are folks that I know we already kind of don't put him as one. We still have Jordan as one.
Yeah.
Does that further the gap if he blows this season as things have already been going?
To be honest, I don't think it hurts LeBron's legacy much at all. Okay. Maybe it hurts his GM legacy, which is already shaky at best. So I think it maybe further confirms that you shouldn't give LeBron all this power when it comes to your franchise. But no, I don't think it hurts his GOAT legacy or his basketball legacy, because he's still playing at MVP level himself. Like when he goes out there,
right?
You blame him maybe if the Russ trade turns out to be like a complete failure. Like they flame out in the first round. I
mean, it technically has so far. It's on track for that. So
yeah, they're on track for a first round bouncing. So, but I still don't even think that hurts his legacy. Because I think he's pretty cemented where he's at now. I think it's kind of hard for him to hurt his legacy anymore. I think he still has the opportunity to maybe eclipse Jordan if he gets another ring or two. But I think he's pretty cemented as top 3 or whatever. So,
got you. I agree with you there. So he's still top 3. I still got Jordan ahead of him. But he's firmly in that 2 spot. Or actually, we can debate Kobe, but we don't.
I mean, Kareem as well too.
He's right there. However you want to rank it, he's there. Definitely in discussion. So all praise to him. But it's definitely going to be funny to see how folks react. How this season continues to go. So we shall see. And again, for our listeners, sorry for the heavy LeBron talk we've not gotten into. But just one more thing I wanted to ask. I had a theory for you.
Okay.
Because I've seen folks that have finally, after years, come around to my trade bond train.
LeBron has never been traded and will never be traded in his career.
I know. But listen, just a theory. And if you want to just please shut it down, then shut it down. But hear me out first. Okay. So LeBron has not publicly said that he's going to follow LeBron wherever he goes.
Sure.
The Lakers do not appear to be in position to make a real title run this year. We just said they are projected to be. They seem like they're on track for a first-round exit. So it's going to get much better next year either, because I think LeBron's on contract. Russ is still going to be on contract. AD's going to have his injuries getting over and all of that. So I won't say it's going to be the same thing, but for right now, it's probably going to be the same thing. So with that being the trajectory for the next 2 seasons, and then LeBron possibly being gone after that, rather than him leaving, why not ship him out for a bunch of picks that you can use to retool the team? Let him go and have his fun wherever. Go to Miami. I'm not Miami. Just go somewhere and chill out for a year. Get your stats somewhere. And then when it's time for Bronny to get drafted, use one of the picks you use to trade Bron and draft Bronny and bring Bron back and have a farewell tour in LA. And y'all can go and have a merrily send off there and piece it up that way. Thoughts?
Well, my first thought is, would you want that as a Lakers fan?
Would I want us to get some more assets?
No. Would you want LeBron back for his farewell tour with Bronny?
At that point, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care. If we're set up better going forward after that to have a team that could carry on past them and be in contention, rather than what it seems right now, which is going to be a bunch of nothing, I'd be fine with that.
I'm surprised because I feel like you've been ready to get rid of Bron for good forever.
It satisfies both sides. So if Bron's gone for next year or 2 years, wherever, and then when it's time for his 1 year to come back for his farewell tour, come back, do your thing, and then you're gone again, and we still good. So,
for me personally, I don't want that. I think it makes sense for him.
Entertainment. I know if he gets traded out, he won't come back.
He's not getting traded. He's never getting traded.
I'm just saying for the scenario, if he were somehow ever to get traded, he wouldn't come back after being traded from that. I get that part. So again, it's all just for fun. But just playing along with that. If that were a scenario, would you be okay with it?
Still no. I think it makes sense for him to go finish out in Cleveland. While he loves LA and loves living in LA, I think going home and the place where he brought a championship to I think it makes sense that he probably would want to do his last season in Cleveland.
He seems ready for it.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Especially if what we talked about last episode, as far as his Lakers legacy and whether he gets a statue, that kind of thing. I don't know if I'm viewing him as like at LeBron as a like Laker legend, that kind of thing. So like if he did his farewell tour as a Laker, I'd be like,
I get you. I mean, I don't either. I mean, thank you for your service, but
I wouldn't really feel earned.
I'm saying, I guess, kind of from his perspective, as someone who's at least for up till this moment embraced LA and shown what you wanted to be here, and regardless of all the hate that was on his way, tried to show as much love to the city as much as he could, and as housed here and all of that, family based, whatever. With him trying to embrace the city as much as he could. A way to appease the haters and him get his wish to be here. Also, just a little fun scenario that I was throwing out there just to see what you would think. But
yeah, I mean, people can call me a hater in the comment. I'm sure there's gonna be a Bron sexual that comments that I'm a hater and what have I done? Have I led a team to a championship? No, I'm not in the NBA, so none of that shit makes sense. I'm just a dude at home talking. Just
LeBron fans don't allow for fan discourse.
What'd you say?
So LeBron fans don't allow for fan discourse. Every time you hear LeBron, well, what have you done in the league? What, bro? That's not what we're talking about right now.
Good Lord, man.
That's not how this works. We're allowed to talk.
Yeah. Have you opened a school? No, I have not opened a school.
You won? No, I didn't.
I'm a fan just like you at home.
It's all just talk. It's just talk.
I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm just from my Laker fandom. Obviously, like Kobe was our guy, and he played here 20 years.
Exactly.
That's a little bit different than like a guy that came in and won one ring for us, and was here 5-6 years or whatever.
Gotcha.
I feel like a farewell tour as a Laker wouldn't necessarily be earned by that kind of dude.
Understood. Just a fun scenario I was throwing out there to see what you would think. I will ask this though. While trading Bron's out off the table for sure, there are a lot of folks that I've now a whole lot recently been calling for AD to get traded. It started with a little fan rumble, and now the media saying the same thing. What do you think of that deal with AD continuing to have his injuries, and him not seeming to be a centerpiece going forward? Training him now before it's too late and having to deal with his injuries for however long going forward after that.
I think it was like a year and a half ago where we did a segment where it was like buy or sell. And I told you, surprisingly, that I was selling on AD.
You did say that.
I was a little early on the curve there, I think, because the injury trend like continued after that.
Right.
He's shown flashes when he came back from his last injury. He was looking like all-world AD once again for a few games. And then he just got hurt again. So like it's tough with a guy that's like that talented when he's engaged and fully healthy. He's arguably top 5 in the league, but he's not 100% always engaged. And we know he's not 100% always healthy. He definitely would have trade value for sure because he's – I'm sure you could pull up his age right now, but I think he's like 27, 28.
I thought he was older than that, not going to lie.
Well, maybe he's a little older, 28, 29. But AD's still a young guy and still, like I said, when fully healthy and engaged, still a top 5 arguable player. So I think you have to do your due diligence as a GM to just see what's out there.
28.
28. So still a really young guy, like still in the prime of his career, like of an NBA career. So, I think Pelinka would have to do his due diligence, but it's not likely if you're retaining Bron that Bron would want AD to go. So, he probably stays, and I'm not even one of those fans like clamoring for AD to be traded because I think when they are healthy, like they're still the best duo in the league. But again, you have to do your due diligence for sure.
Again, just for jokes, guys. I gotta caveat everything now.
I know, guys. They get so mad.
Is on the trade market. Hey, Jason Tatum, you've already been eyeing LA. let's go ahead and make that swap.
Hey, man.
Hey, just throwing some ideas out there.
Yeah, Tatum might have some guys with tiki torches looking for him if he goes from the Celtics to like.
I know what he said about Boston as well. He's committed to stay there with him and Jason and him and Jalen and work that out. But just a fun scenario.
yeah, but LeBron's a bit of a slut. He has eyes. He got eyes for other teams all day. He's constantly. He's shouting out Sam Presti and OKC. He's looking at Cleveland, talking about, they got 2 young superstars and they got me.
That's the name of the episode. I don't care what else happens. LeBron is the name of the episode.
LeBron got eyes for everybody. Like, as soon as he starts struggling a little bit with the team, he's like, where's some fresh young talent I can find?
Oh my God!
Yeah, he sees Cleveland as potentially going to get a home series first round, and he's like, come back to Cleveland a little bit. So,
interesting.
You never know. You never know what Bron's thinking year to year. So.
Oh man, yeah, that was funny. But we will see what happens with AD and Bron and all of that. Definitely gonna be fun. Or painful to see how these next few months for Lakers continue to unfold. Definitely going to be fun to follow here. So we'll stay in tune with that. The last thing across the rest of the league, we mentioned AD's injury. Someone else just had an injury. CP3, his yearly injury has happened yet again. Sadly, I know I kind of smirked there, but every year that this happens, it seems like
we're praying about CP3's downfall.
I wouldn't say all that. I'm just saying every year while they're on the cusp of greatness, an injury happens. They were able to overcome it last year and get to the finals. Even still,
I'm not typically a hater, but I will call myself a resident Chris Paul hater. Like, that's the one guy that grinds my gears. So I'm never happy that a dude's injured, but it's like you said, it's not surprising. It like happens to him almost every year. Will come playoff time, but I think regardless, he's not winning a ring. So,
I guess that answers the question. So the Suns drop in contention. The Suns, I guess, weren't real contenders to begin with. Then, if that's the case,
they were still contenders. I don't think they would win it. Like they had a shot at
it. They're contenders, but you don't think they're gonna win it all. So they're not contenders.
No, contender means like you're in contention for it. But
the Jazz are in contention every year, and you said they're not real contenders. Besides this year,
the Jazz are a different story.
How is this different?
The Jazz are because the Jazz are just a regular season team. Like, I don't expect the Jazz to advance beyond the second round. I think the Suns are good enough to make it to the finals and lose.
So if you still see them as a loser, that still in my head says they're not
because like. How is that not a contender? Because you don't just have one contender every year.
You have teams that you can see as really winning the championship. I see the Nets really winning the championship, the Bucks really winning the championship, the Warriors really winning the championship. Teams like that you really see winning. If you don't see the Suns as actually winning the championship, you don't see them as a real contender.
I see them as good enough to win, but they're not going to. That's all. Like,
what if it's semantics or whatever? I guess whatever. You got it.
With Chris Paul on your team, you're not going to win an NBA Finals.
Okay, then
that's a certified Charles Barkley guarantee that Chris Paul is not winning an NBA Finals.
That's fine with me. I just wanted you to clarify. So we'll see how it happens with that, and we'll see. So we've mentioned AD now. We've mentioned Chris Paul. Another failed Hornet another failed Pelican that's trying to find his way. Zion Williamson is out still and making headlines. It seems like he's already wants out. We talked to Matt a few weeks ago, and Matt was like he's all for player empowerment and the idea of guys after the season maybe not signing the extension and going elsewhere. What do you think of him now seeming to like want out before we even get to that point?
Yeah, it's a tough look for NBA. I think that's why Maples was saying like he misses David Stern because it's a tough look for the NBA when you have a rookie that really hasn't done anything in the league yet. Like he's shown that he can be a generational talent, but he hasn't played a full season yet with his injuries and weight management or whatever is going on. We don't even know what's going on because he doesn't even talk. He's just like radio silent right now.
Sammy's big, so
yeah. So it's a tough look for the NBA when that guy's probably not even gonna probably not gonna sign an extension. Like probably gonna be the first guy not to sign an extension. And yeah, I don't really know fully where I land on it, because like we are for player empowerment, but you haven't proven anything in the league yet to like already be like demanding out. Like it's tricky because David Griffin.
There's a word missing. We're for proven player empowerment. He has not proved anything yet. So as a guy that's just fresh in the league, trying to say, I don't want to be here, get me out of here, or at least from what it seems from afar as we're saying, for you to be a guy that hasn't done anything yet, that just comes off wrong. So I think if he plays a little bit more, and he tried, as many other guys have done, or everybody else beforehand, I guess, has tried to work it out, play through their contracts, do what they had to do, got to the end. Okay, we've tried a few years now. It hasn't worked. Even got me the help I wanted, or whatever the reasons is. It hasn't worked. I now want out. But if you play 82 games total in 2 seasons, if that, or is it 52 games? I forgot what the number is. Something like that. To play not even a full season yet in your tenure, it looks bad for you to argue saying, I don't want to be here. So, yeah, I think that proven word at the beginning is what's missing. We're for the player empowerment, but you got to prove something first.
I say it's tricky because like how David Griffin has handled things, handled the basketball operations has been suspect at best as well too. Beyond drafting Zion, the moves he's made wouldn't instill a lot of faith in me as like the franchise player that he can build a team around me that is going to be capable of winning. So from that standpoint, I do understand like Zion and his team, which I believe is his family, not being super happy with David Griffin and the franchise. But on that same token, they've actually been playing pretty well of late. While they started off terribly, and they've been playing pretty well and playing hard without Zion. So,
and what I was going to say to you is they just a majority of the moves have driven Pelicans fans kind of crazy, as most and ever have been complaining about trades and all of that. Adding CJ McCollum, I think, was a nice move, and seeing that he can be a guy that can actually help you guys get back to where you want. He still has some legs up in him that, if you're there, can make a legit push. Seeing that a puzzle like that has been made should give you a reason to at least give it a shot. But for you still seeming to want out, even with positive moves being made, it's not a good look.
Yeah, and maybe he's just like has his heart set on New York, that kind of thing. But I don't know where I land as far as like players just being able to like play where they want. Because I feel like guys should have the opportunity kind of to go where they want. But then it's like, what do you like have to like get rid of the draft or something and just let college guys like choose where they play?
I was gonna bring it up. I haven't deep dived that thought enough immediately, but I have seen folks online at least mention, maybe we should get rid of the draft or just float that idea out there. What do you think of that? And just more on what you're saying.
Yeah, it's an idea I've heard floated around before, and I think it's interesting because I mean it sucks for guys that have to play 3-4 years in a spot that they know they don't want to be at and be expected to like be professional and committed to winning when the organization isn't necessarily a good one and isn't necessarily committed to winning.
Right.
But like you said, what we just talked about as far as being a proven player and not like when you haven't proven anything, like what grounds should you have to stand on to just like tell NBA franchises that I don't want to play for you. I want to play for someone else kind of thing. So it's a tricky, very tricky dynamic as far as empowering the players to just be in the exact perfect situation that they want to be in versus the system that we've known for so many years where you're drafted and once you're a free agent is when you can kind of decide your destiny. Yeah, I feel like a Republican when I'm like more on the side of the league, but I feel like I lean more towards the side of the league as far as that balance of power. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
I'm still for the draft, at least for now, just because of how we've seen other guys maneuver through it.
Yeah.
Just seeing, like, for example, the guy we talked about, all the LeBrons that we've had, the guy that made the next in line, Giannis, somebody who stayed where he was at, dealt with other woes and overcame that, and his team surrounded with the talent necessary as he reached his prime, and now they're a dominant team in the East there. Seeing how guys like that, or there's various guys you could pick similar scenarios with across the league as well, seeing how they've maneuvered and seeing how they make that work, it makes it hard to agree with Zion in the stance right now. So for the moment, like I said, I'll do more research on it and we'll talk about it more later on. But for now, I'm still for the draft and how things go down. And a guy like Zion, while he has shown small flashes, it's not enough off of 50 games to say, hey, now I want to dictate where I can go play. So
especially when there's injury and health concerns going forward.
I think you got to continue to prove who you are, and you can get that freedom later on.
I will say, as you were talking, I was thinking
that's kind of weird to say. I'm not gonna lie.
What is that?
You can get your freedom later on.
Oh, you could probably word it.
Slave that ass for a while, and you could be free later on.
That's what I was gonna say. As you were talking, I was thinking like maybe just like shorter rookie contract, like 2 seasons. Like one feels too short, but maybe like 2 seasons, like for your rookie deal, so you're not like committed to long term. What do you say?
Isn't it already 2-2? Am I wrong on that?
I believe it's 3.
Oh, okay.
I believe it's 3, and then you are eligible for like max or an extension. Because Zion, this is his 3rd season, right? Which is crazy because we haven't really seen him play that much.
2019, right?
Yeah. So this is his 3rd season. Yeah. So I believe it's 3 years for rookies, and sometimes 4. But maybe if it was 2. So there wasn't as much of a long-term commitment to a place if you're not all that thrilled with it. But you are committed to having to play 2 seasons there.
Right.
Maybe one's not long enough to really work it out and turn the franchise around. Like not everyone's LeBron James, but you give the team 2 years. Maybe they figure some things out. Bring in some.
I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know how this would work, but what if they made it a game marker, like games played marker? So while it kind of is that 2 seasons, but like it's 2 seasons or 100,
like 82 games, like a full 82.
Let's say they change it to the 2 seasons for a guy's contract. But Zion plays his first year, plays 50 games, gets hurt, sits the whole 2nd season, then he's like, I'm out.
That's true. So maybe a game thing. So like equivalent of 2 seasons worth of games. So like 164 games or whatever, or just a round number, 150 games.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I don't know how that actually worked, but just thinking out loud, because like with his situation, he'd be free right now, I guess, if that was the case. So he would already have his way. So yeah, I'm sure there's ways they can figure that out more properly. But there has to, I think for now, at least for your first year or 2, wherever you get picked up at, you should play there. And then if that's not where it is, then you can start maneuvering. But to jump as quick as Zion seems to be jumping, and he is a great jumper, as we've seen literally. For any jumping this fast is a strange thing to see.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what kind of jumper he is right now, but
that's true.
Look, I hope it turns around. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I say it looks more like a Saint than a Pelican right now. I mean, you'd be on that D line.
I'm sure he'd be elite as an edge rusher. I'm saying I hope it works out because the flashes we did see, I mean, it was 25-7, just easily. And we've seen like Joel Embiid miss his first like 2 seasons, I think, just off the foot injuries and leg injuries, whatever. And we see what Embiid is now. So, and there was questions about him and his health, and how he took care of his body as well too early on. So hopefully it can turn around. I think just Zion hasn't shown yet, at least because we haven't heard from him. I'll give him that benefit of the doubt, but we haven't seen that he's like open to criticism and open to being coached as far as like taking care of his body, that kind of thing. Like head coaches have said that he's been open to being coached like on the floor, but as far as taking care of his body and the non like just strictly basketball stuff, he hasn't shown a willingness to like respond to that. So
they said what draft the beignets and all that in New Orleans would get to him, and they still drafted him.
Yeah, I mean, for me that felt like just like an easy target, just because he is overweight.
I know. Just joking again. This is
for sure, but like he hasn't given haters any reason to stop that noise to this point. So I'd love for him to, not necessarily that he has to be on a microphone every day kind of thing, but just like him not having spoken to CJ when they traded him was not a good look when we heard that from CJ. And just like the organization, David Griffin having no timetable for when he can return, like it just hasn't been a good look for Zion this year. And I hope it turns around, because he was looking like he could be like one of the top 75 players as well too. So
that was even my last question. There are a lot of folks right now, and full respect to Yoda and everybody else that have made
Phillips,
things. Yes. There are a lot of folks now, him as well, or he even said before the draft, that said the Pelicans should have took Ja over Zion.
Yeah, I think that's too easy. That's too easy to say now. And while he may have been saying it then, it still might not be right based off of what Zion can become. And I think 30 teams out of 30 were going to draft Zion. So he can pound the Ja Morant drum now that Ja's having like an MVP type season. Ja was great then too, but there's still a possibility that Zion ends up being the better player.
Right.
It's just health dependent. So
I can understand banging the drum and saying that Ja deserved to be top 2, because out of Murray State, folks believe he should.
And he was top 2. He was number 2.
Exactly. So that point was proven. But to say he should have been over Zion, seeing how he was generational from high school, everything we saw then to now, no, he definitely was the guy that should have been taken at that one spot. It seemed like he was the better fit at the time as well. I think Lonzo already was there as a guard in New Orleans, right? Along with BI, that whole Lakers trade just went down. Right. The Lakers trade just went down. So they just got those guys. I mean, and putting Zion alongside them seemed like it was the right move. So going for the guard right there didn't really make sense. So it was what it was, and I still agree with that. It's just the moves afterwards that made it seem otherwise. But no, I still think Zion is the right fit there, and if he can see that for himself, they can turn things around in New Orleans and have a brighter future as they hope they would. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Anything else NBA side you want to talk about real quick? We went long on that.
Yeah, we did. Just trying to think real quick. I don't think there's anything else NBA wise.
All right, then we'll jump to the NFL real quick. Usually the past 7 episodes we talk NFL first, all that going on. The NFL season is now over.
Right.
So start with the NBA again. We're back on that routine. NFL wise, not really any news. Only 2 things notable right now are the quarterback moves that are going around. Tom Brady's retired still, as we discussed, but folks are still rumoring his return from that, with all these teams looking at quarterback needs and all of that. And then also elsewhere, Aaron Rodgers. Actually, no, before I get to Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and while there are many people that are speculating his potential return, he seems to be moving on officially, as he announced a movie. It's going to be some kind of road trip, him with some fans. I don't know exactly how it plays out. I saw some road trip movie that's based around the Super Bowl where the Pats came back from 28-3 on the Falcons and all of that. So it should be interesting to see how that plays out. I think it would be dope. This does not seem to be in line with it, but I do think it would be dope at some point If he got a like Mike-esque type movie, though we've had our hate for Tom or whatever, I think if there's a guy to base an NFL version of that movie on, I think Tom's the guy to do it. So I don't know, just an idea. If you guys make that real, you can go ahead and send me a check for that, and we'll go from there. Just the question I had with the whole Tom Brady movie is that what other football, or if you want to extend it beyond, what other sports moments in recent years do you think are movie worthy and that you actually go and see?
Other sports moments movie worthy.
Mm-hmm. Just I know it's off the top of the head. I just kind of threw that at you, but
yeah, that's a tough question. I'm just trying to think of the big four. And
the first one that came to mind is why you think of that, and I said recent, but it came to mind immediately. I still would like a movie on that USC Texas Rose Bowl where Vince Young won at the end. As a kid, LA kid that was young and in love with SC at the time, I was heartbroken during watching.
I love that game.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. I was hurt by that.
You were crying. You were crying in the club.
I think I had a jersey. I had a flag. I was all SC. I still love that squad, but definitely was copying in the hype of that moment and was hurt by that loss. So that definitely felt like a movie moment there. So I'd love to see that. What else would there be? Low key, actually no, I don't think that'll play out well.
Recent stuff I don't want movies on. So like even this Patriots Falcons one, I don't want a movie on that either. So like
that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
so is there anything then that you'd like to see a movie on? Of course.
Yeah, I mean we've kind of like talked about like documentaries and that kind of thing. I don't think nothing really jumps out to me right now. I'm really excited for this Winning Time series on HBO Max with the Showtime Lakers.
That works.
So I mean stuff along those lines. I think soon-ish, like the Kobe Shaq years of the Lakers. I'd love to see something on that in the next few years. I mean, because that'll be 20 years soon.
Right. That's crazy as that is.
Yeah. So maybe like that era of the Lakers with Phil Jackson as well too, and all that. So
we might get the chance to ask about it, but I think that could be an interesting thing to see how they. I know there's a decent, maybe even 10-year gap. I think it was between the times, or I think longer than that possibly. But just them transitioning from the Showtime Lakers to that kind of rough patch that they had into the Kobe and Shaq era, just seeing the Lakers' progression through the years, I think could be dope to see how more documentaries. I know there's already some, but I'd watch more of that. I wouldn't mind. So definitely hype for Winning Time. I'm excited for all that's to come there. I believe that's March 6th that debuts. Around that time, and definitely excited for it. As Laker fans, as we have shown, they definitely love that Showtime time of the past. We look back on it and witness seeing Magic and all those and Kareem at the NBA 75 honoring what was great, and seeing this show, which I don't know if they're a fan of, but we definitely will be. I'm looking forward to see how they do that. So we'll definitely be a great time. So yeah, that was just something that came to mind in regards to Tom Brady. Seeing that news kind of crossed my timeline recently. And beyond that, NFL wise, nothing else really of note that we need to talk about right now. But I will say NFL wise, that's it. But there's other football that's popping up. The USFL has reemerged and is getting under the draft is underway right now. Actually, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, with you guys watching this, Tuesday, they had their draft, and Shea Patterson from Michigan was the number one pick of it all. So respectfully, that shows the kind of
I know nothing about this, so I'll just let you talk.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, they have that league that's getting underway there. Not in conjunction with the NFL, it's its own separate entity that they're doing. But yeah, all these kind of other. There was AAF a while ago that came and went, and things that they tried. The USFL has now reemerged in its place, and it's getting underway. I put in the notes a picture of the teams. Did you see the teams on there?
Yeah,
or no?
I did see that. Yeah.
And the question with that, I was going to ask, if you pay attention to it all, is there a team that you were going to claim? But if you haven't even know what's going on, just off the logos, then who has the best logo there? You think?
These are all kind of whack.
I like them, to be honest. Or I'll say this: I'll just give my follow up. I like them more than I like them more than the Commanders. I like all these more than the Washington Commanders.
I guess. I mean, a couple of them look a little high schoolish to me. That Stars one looks like a burger restaurant.
I can see that.
Yeah.
You got me there.
I mean, maybe Maulers, just because that name is dope. But
yeah, that's a dope name.
Tampa Bay Bandits.
There's no LA squad, so I can't really just go based on location. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have a favorite here. Houston Gamblers is kind of weak.
Oh, I was gonna say as the FanDuel aficionado, I thought you would run straight to that, but I guess not.
Hey, you're the Bovada guy.
Not anymore. They got me once. Not again. Never again.
You're the one placing bets. So, yeah, I guess the Bandits one's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'll lean there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess to that question, do you think any of them are better than the Washington Commanders?
I mean, I think the Commanders would fit right in with these 8 years. So better, I don't know, just about the same.
I get you. I agree there. So yeah, we'll see how that league plays out. And it's gonna be interesting to see how it unfolds, especially with them happening at the same time with the XFL returning. I actually like XFL a little bit more. We both were at a game when they were active a few years ago. Definitely enjoyed that. Still rocking the Wildcats, and I think it'll be fun to watch them. Who was that one player that I liked? Spruce.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't even say that jokingly.
The white receiver.
Not seriously, because he was dope, but just yeah, whatever. The Wildcats were a fun team to watch. I'm looking forward to the XFL's reemergence, especially with The Rock as one of the owners of the league and putting it all together now. So definitely will be fun. Also, while I mentioned the USFL is not connected to the NFL, the XFL will be. They're not officially going to be what's the word?
I don't even know what you're saying.
They won't be a developmental league. They're not going to be the NFL G League or whatever like that. But they are connected in that the NFL they'll kind of use the XFL to test out different rule changes or it's funny, they're not a developmental league, but they're going to be grooming refs and coaches and things in that way. So they're developmental. I can't say this word at all. They're developmental for coaches and refs, but not for players. But we already have seen that some players have gone from that league to the NFL as well. So it still is possible for guys to cross over. So it's going to be fun to watch all that unfold. And I guess to that point about the NFL using the XFL for rules and all of that, are there any rules you like to see the XFL experiment with during their time?
Any rules?
Any rules that you want to see in the NFL that'd be fun for the XFL to try out first?
Not off the top of my head. I like that they had like the everything was like a 2-point conversion kind of thing, or it's like from different distances. I think you could get more points, something like that.
They did try that, and that was cool.
I like if the NFL adopted that, that'd be cool. Because then
I think it is an element of it. I don't mind that. So keeping that around in some regard, I think could be cool. So I guess to that, an idea I had was just the overtime rules. You can play around with that. There are some that want just slight tweaks in the sense of if there goes overtime and making sure both offenses get the ball, do that. There also are some that are more dramatic and want to go the full soccer penalty kicks route in the sense of the NFL's version would be put the ball on the team's 40-yard line or whatever, and teams kick field goals, and whoever misses first is the loser. I don't know, something like that. I don't know, but just there's things that the XFL could play with. That I think will be interesting to see how it unfolds. If they work, the NFL could definitely implement it going forward, and it'd be a good game. So I like that they're going to be hand in hand in that regard. That's all I got. That's all I got. You have anything else? We've gone for an hour. I don't know. I'm just throwing them out there at this point. I think it's good though, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, because we don't really have to go deep into it about like Aaron Rodgers posting the Instagram thing. Don't know if he's retiring or staying in Green Bay.
He said he's not retiring, I believe, but he hasn't made a decision in regards to where he's playing yet.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. Yeah, I think that's good. We'll talk some March Madness maybe with some of our guests.
Right, we'll save that.
And yeah, I think that's good. I added you. I don't know if you saw it, but Ozark's back in April.
Oh yeah, that was just all the sports stuff. Now
Okay.
going to the shows, just a quick ending. As you said, Ozark is back in April. They dropped the trailer for that. Ruth's about to be on her shit. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah,
So
a little earlier
excited
than expected too. So I'm happy about that.
And a debate, while on the topic, a debate that I've seen pop up on the timeline again is that we've seen the success of shows recently. What else was big recently? Like Euphoria right now, or Insecure, the HBO shows that do it, the weekly release of episodes, versus Netflix, who will just drop everything at once. Is there one you prefer over the other? You prefer week by week discussion of each episode as it all unfolds, or you just like to binge it all at once?
I don't really know that I'm partial to one or the other. I think I like both both the episodic release and the full drop.
Well, let's take a show that you like then. Let's take Ozark. Would you want Ozark as a binge, or would you like Ozark as a weekly release?
I mean, I like it as a binge. I watched it in like 2 days, but I think it would like dominate like the more of the social landscape, which I think is what people are arguing about. If it was an episodic release, like you get people talking throughout the week, and you get the anticipation for the new episode at the end of the week.
Right.
Other streaming services have done like they drop the first 3 episodes and then it's episodic after that. I like that too. I like that for new series. So like off the first episode, sometimes you're like, I'm not really feeling that, but you get a feel of like what the show's about off 3 more. So, but yeah, I don't really think I'm partial either way. I see the pros and cons to both. I think selfishly, if you love a show, like you want all the episodes at once. But then, like once I finished in 2 days, I was like, I want more as well too. So finishing it in a day or two versus finishing it over the course of a couple months as well. I don't know what you prefer. Like,
it's weird. When I asked that question to you, I was like, I like the weekly releases, but like with Ozark, that's a show that even though it is heavy, I kind of want to watch it all at once. Like it's one of them shows that leaves you just so you get so caught up in it in the moment that you want to just binge through it. A show like Euphoria, where it's like heavy every episode. Give me a week to calm myself.
It probably does depend on kind of like on the subject matter as well too.
At the same time as well. So like with Williamson coming out, I believe that's HBO. That's gonna be weekly as well. I think that's gonna be good because there's gonna be a lot in each episode. Just seeing how it all plays out week by week and what's going on. That's gonna be a show that we want to discuss after every episode. So I'm fine with that. I think if it all dropped at once, and with the discussion going on, folks jump ahead of certain things, and now everything's kind of mess. And to your point as well about Ozark, it's here one day and possibly gone the next. So
I will say too, like
very show based.
If you do it episodic, everything's bingeable eventually. So like after all the episodes come out, someone could just binge the entire series too. So like you could do both, I guess, in theory. If you don't like waiting week to week, like you can just wait for it all to drop and watch it all at one time too, that kind of thing. So
don't wait.
I know some people do that. So
yeah, but I guess for a new viewer saying, hey, don't wait 1 week, wait 10 weeks and then watch it all.
Right.
Hard to ask, but hey, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. So I'm fine with both as well. And I'm glad that winning time is going to be week by week, and I'm going to look very excited for that. And I'm glad that Ozark is a full binge that we can just knock out because I definitely want to see all the unfold with that show as well.
I will say too, I just binged another show on Showtime, Yellow Jackets. That was Heat as well, and I watched that probably in like 3 days. So that's probably one where I would prefer the binge versus the episodic. But again, people were talking about it week to week as well too. So like I think both work. It's just based on the preference of the companies, like whether they want to dominate the social landscape for a couple months or whether they just want the immediate binge and reaction, and this is the best show ever kind of thing. I don't know.
Exactly. So we shall see how things are just going forward. I think it's fine for both to exist. There shouldn't be a universal stamp for either, but both have debates as they do. So it is what it is. But you talked about Yellow Jackets, the show that I'll add to my list. But before that, Snowfall is back, man. Snowfall
Right.
is back. Franklin's about to be on his tear, man. I'm excited for what's to come from this new season, and looking forward to the debut tonight, or by the time y'all see this, it'll be out.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, very, very excited for that. We've been counting down the days for that to come out, and we finally here. So thoroughly ready for that premiere shortly. And then Peacemaker is also on the list as well. You've said good things about it.
Oh yeah,
good things. Y'all watch Suicide Squad as well, and we'll get to that. So yeah, should be some good stuff coming up. And
it's constantly like this year, it seems like since the start of January, like there's some new series or new episode, new season coming like every month or every couple weeks. So
the shows have been on point. The music's been on point. I finally got back to Saba's album. We said it was good before. Listen again in proper vibe for it, whatever you want to say.
Okay.
Definitely did what you need to do. Big Crit's latest album, which kind of got looked past, but Digital Roses Don't Die, which was really good.
I didn't even realize that he dropped.
Alchemist dropped a project called Continuance. That was good. Still rocking with Yeet, man. I'm not gonna lie. still enjoyed that project a whole lot. And Gunna's project is still in rotation a bit too. I cannot front. So yeah, there's good stuff. There's been good entertainment across the board, and a lot more stuff on the way. Atlanta's coming out shortly as well, I believe. So
in about a month. Yeah.
So yeah, there's good stuff wherever you look, and we appreciate you guys for tuning to us in the midst of all this other stuff that's on your TV.
Absolutely.
So yeah, great stuff there. Great stuff on the way. We got great guests on the way to discuss some things. And really excited for that. And we just appreciate you guys for tuning in. March Madness, as Alec mentioned, is on the way, so we'll have some breakdowns on that. Let you guys know. Won't show you our whole bracket, can't be stealing our picks, but we'll give a little insight on that.
I don't know if you want to steal our picks, to be honest.
Right. But maybe a guest who comes on, you may want to still win it there. So we'll see. Fun guests on the way, fun content on the way. Again, follow us on IG and TikTok. TikTok's going crazy. Thank you guys so much for tuning in there. Follow us there. Follow us there on both Section.300. Follow us on Twitter at Section300 Sports. It's your boy G at Just Say G everywhere. Alec, Lakers Fan 24 everywhere. We appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Like, rate, review, subscribe, all of that on YouTube and all the podcast streaming services. And again, we'll see you guys again next week for a couple great episodes there. So yeah, appreciate you guys, and we got you here, man. Peace.
Deuces.